What's up, you guys? It's Victoria from UnderVictoriaSpell, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about my February mid-month wrap-up. I'm so excited to delve into all of these books. It's been such a great month already, so let's just hop right into it. Okay, so the first book that I want to talk about is actually a prequel novella, and you have to be on Jay Bree's newsletter to be able to have access to it early. And so I'm signed up for it. So I got an early edition of The Scepter by Jay Bree. This cover is absolutely stunning. Sorry, that's my dog. Okay, had to give him a toy. So anyway, this is The Scepter. It's the prequel to her new fantasy series that is coming out in March of this year. The cover is absolutely stunning. I was excited to delve into this world. It opens up with our heroine and her brother coming back to their village. They are witches and they live in like nature. They're nature witches. And they come back to find their entire community has been slaughtered, killed. And they are just devastated, obviously. And now our heroine has to be the lead of her coven. She is now the mother, as they call it. And she has to go on this journey across many states to find out what her fate is supposed to be. But she's dealing with this grief of losing her entire family, her entire community, and they have no idea who could have done this because they are very neutral. They don't get involved in politics or war with other covens or the Fae. So as she's on this journey, you learn that she can actually hear her mate's voice inside of her head. And they both are kind of keeping each other a secret from each other. And so once she finds out her fate, the end of the prequel novella, you find out that she actually has to hate the person that she believes is her mate. And that's kind of just how the book ends. The second prequel comes out, I believe, at the end of this month or early March. I cannot wait to pick it up. I'm just so intrigued to see what has happened to her entire community. I want to learn more about her fate, her now being in charge of this entire witch community. It was so good. Jay Bree never disappoints. And the next 4 books that I'm going to talk about, I actually just did a video on, and it was for reading my favorite booktubers' recommendations from their channels. And I picked Ava from Ava's Romance Books. So I'm going to quickly talk about the 4 books that I read. If you want to hear more, you can watch that video. So the first one that I picked up was A Monster Romance, and that's Tentacles and Triathlons by Ashley Bennett. This was so cute. I absolutely loved it. I gave it 3.5 stars. It was sports romance, cute and cozy. I just really enjoyed the character growth from our monster hero and our human hero. I thought it was just so sweet because they were in very different points in their life, but they really came together and helped each other in the end. It was so sweet. I loved the fact that monsters were just so normalized in their world, and so I thought it was just so cute. If you have not picked up Ashley Bennett yet, you definitely should. This is her second book in her monster romance. The first one is, I know it's a pink cover. I'll put it up here, but it's also really cute. They're super short books, so if you're looking for like an introduction to monster romance, you want something cute and cozy, these books are definitely for you. And the next one that I picked up was Theirs for Their Night by Katie Robert. This was a novella, and it is a menage one-night stand romance. I gave it 2.5 stars, I believe. It was honestly pretty good for like a novella. Katie Robert, this is the first time I had read any of her books. I do know who she is, but I hadn't had a chance to pick up her books. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, it was just pretty much pure smut, but I thought it was good. I thought it was very well written for it being a book under 100 pages. And I know there's a full-length novel to go with it that I am very intrigued to pick up because there's still a mystery element to the story. Pretty much it's our heroine's birthday and she agrees to go home with these two guys, and she has, you know, a sinful night. And the next morning when she wakes up, she is leaving and overhears that not only is these two men that she's just had a fantastic night with, they are actually more important than she realizes. One of them is actually a prince of a different country who is currently on the run with his bodyguard. And that's kind of like how the book ends, and it was just so interesting. I want to know why he's on the run, what's gonna happen. So definitely enjoyed this. It was short, it was sweet, but yeah, I picked that up. It was good. And the next one that I picked up was Blood Moon by Julian Graves. This was Avery's on her top 10 of 2022, so I really wanted to pick it up. It was a paranormal romance. It was short and sweet, vampire and witch, and I just, for some reason, I was just in the mood for that, and I'm so glad that I picked it up. I gave it, I believe, 3 stars, which it's a novella length, so that's pretty good for a novella. I thought it was so good. If this would have been a full-length novel, I would have devoured this. Pretty much it picks up with our heroine. Her name's Hazel, and she owns a bar called The Witch Hazel, and she is a witch. And it kind of goes into the story as she is having or going to this party, and she meets this guy who happens to be a vampire. They have this fantastic one-night stand, and at the kind of the end of the night where they like go back into the party, she actually finds out that this vampire owns the bar that just opened up next door and is stealing all of her customers. So it's pretty much like a lovers to enemies, back to lovers romance. It was super sweet. I really liked it. The smut was amazing in this book. So good. I really, really enjoyed it. You should definitely pick this up if you have not. And the next book that I'm going to talk about is the last book that I read for that video, and that is Brittle Prince by Sophie Lark. I gave this 5 stars or 4.5 stars. 4.5 stars. It was really, really good. I'm so glad that I decided to give Sophie Lark a second chance because I had read her serial killer romance, and I was like, I don't know if her writing's for me. The story was kind of odd, but I know how much this series is just so beloved. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it again, and I'm so glad that I did. It was fantastic. It's a mafia romance between 2 mafia families who have to get married due to the heroine doing something to piss the other family off, and this is kind of like bringing peace between the 2 families. This was so good. I haven't read a mafia romance in a while, but this one definitely had like a lighter feel to it. It didn't feel so like, I don't know, like heavy, because the hero and the heroine, they just have a really good banter. They're constantly trying to kill each other in these crazy ways, but they're not really, but they are. And the hero was very possessive, even though he does not like his wife. He is like, touch her or disrespect her and you will die. And who doesn't love that, you know? But it was so good. I loved the banter. I loved the lightness of the mafia. I loved just the entire world that Sophie was introducing. I cannot wait to pick up the second book in this series. I know it's a lot of people's favorites, so if you have not read this series yet, definitely do. I'm so glad I decided to pick it up. And the next one I'm going to talk about, I'm so excited, and this is Jasperville by Devney Perry. This is the continuation in her Eden series. This is book 4, and oh my gosh, y'all, 5 stars. It was just so good. I love how Devney Perry writes. I love a small town romance. The Eden family has just really grown on me, and I was really excited for Eloise's story, because you've kind of seen her in all 3 of the books, and I was really excited for her story. And it's kind of like a surprise marriage. If you have read the 3rd book, then you know that at the end they are in Vegas. Eloise is part of the Eden clan. She's the one that owns the hotel, and Jasper is the trainer of the hero in book 3. And pretty much they get married in Vegas when they're drunk, and they go back and they don't want to tell anybody what has happened because they have agreed that they're just going to get a divorce and it's going to be over. But they have this really good chemistry together, and they're both just kind of fighting because he's been married before. She doesn't want to let her family down because she's trying really hard to get ownership of her hotel. So they agree to wait it out until the end of June because they're going to go to a wedding together, but not just any wedding, Jasper's ex-wife's wedding. And so they decide to move in together, do the whole married thing, and, you know, let everyone believe that they're being genuine about this marriage. But of course, that forced proximity, small town, nothing else to do but to be with your spouse. It was just so good. And I feel like, honestly, this one carried a lot of emotions. I do feel like some of the other books have, but this one I really just connected with. I don't know if it was maybe because they were actually living in the same house. They were already married, but I felt like the demons that Jasper dealt with his family, watching Eloise, who her family has been so supportive, but still have her own issues, and them coming together and learning and growing was so good. I loved it. I feel like out of all of the Eden books, I really saw growth from Jasper. I really enjoyed his story, Eloise's story, and I cannot wait for the next book, Crimson Ridge, which I believe comes out maybe at the end of the year. It'll be so good. If you have not picked up any of the Eden's books, you definitely should. This is definitely one of my new favorites. Okay, and the next book that I'm going to talk about is actually the buddy read that I did with my friends here on BookTube, and that's Erica from Erica Reads Books and Autumn from Autumn Knows in a Book. Absolutely love them. I'll have their channels linked down below if you want to go check them out. You definitely should. They are sweet. They are amazing. I adore them. And originally we picked Passion and Venom by S. Williams to read, but we actually had to change that because it was not available on Kindle at the time. So no big deal. We decided to pick up Requiem by Callie Hart, and I have heard of this book. I heard Tori from Novel Love talk about it, so I was like, okay, cover's pretty. I honestly didn't remember what this was about at all, just that Tori really liked it and I was interested in reading it. It was on my radar, so we all decided to buddy read it together. So I have some thoughts on this book. I'm not going to give any spoilers away, but I gave this book 2.5 stars, and I really did not want to give it 2.5 stars because I was like, this is my first buddy read with the ladies. I really wanted it to be a good one, but for me, it was just a miss. I don't know if it was because I was coming off Jasper Vale and I was starting another book. I don't know what was wrong with me, but I just thought this romance was kind of chaotic and a hot mess. So it starts out with our heroine. She is in this home and she is learning to train and fight to go to this academy to pretty much kill our hero because of something that he has done to her in the past. And that's kind of how it starts out. She gets to this academy, gives it Hogwarts vibes, which I thought was so cool. Any book that you go to an academy or a state and it gives Hogwarts vibes, I'm automatically interested. So once she gets there and she gets adjusted, things are definitely not as they seem. Let me just tell you, parts in this book was very, very unhinged, and I was like, this is not really believable for me. This seems out of left field, and I just thought that there was so many different plots going on at certain times. I was like, what is even going on? Like, am I reading the same books that I started reading in the beginning? it was just a lot for me. But in the end, it did wrap up beautifully, and all the storylines were kind of wrapped up in a way. I just didn't necessarily agree with how they were wrapped up, but I will say I really enjoyed the hero in this book. There was some questionable things that he did, but I really loved his story and why he was there at the academy. I don't want to give any spoilers away. Why he was there, what he does for the heroine. Really, really enjoyed that. The heroine, she was kind of chaotic for me, but if you read the story, you kind of know why she is so chaotic. It was just a lot. The other people in the book, that really bothered me as well. Kind of just everyone's storyline. I cannot give too much away. You really have to read this book because it's pretty much a big old thriller. That's what it is. But I still want to give Callie Hart a chance because I know she is so loved, and this just wasn't the right book for me, but I know others will really, really love it. It just was not a hit for me this time. Okay, and the last book that I'm going to talk about, I'm literally so excited. I just finished this last night, and that is Powerless by Elsie Silver. 5 freaking stars. Attempted to give it 6 freaking stars. I absolutely adored this romance so much. I enjoy Friends to Lovers, but this just took it to a whole new level. Like, Elsie raised that bar for me when it comes to Friends to Lovers. It was so freaking good. And let me just tell you, we have another Jasper in here. This Jasper has completely captured my heart. He is dreamy. I love him so much. This is the continuation in her Chestnut Spring series. This is book number 3. You can read them as standalones, but you will see the other couples in there. I suggest you read them in order because each of them are very, very good. But this is the 3rd one. This follows Jasper, which is one of the Eden brothers. He's adopted. And this follows Sloane, which they are childhood friends. And they are still best friends to this day. Pretty much the story picks up with Sloane is engaged to this man, but on her wedding day, things do not go as planned, and pretty much she ends up as a runaway bride, and of course, her best friend Jasper is there to help her pick up the pieces and helps her get away. Absolutely loved it. They just have, I feel like from page 1, when you saw their connection with each other, you could just feel their chemistry and the love that they had for each other because they have known each other their whole lives. They know how each other ticks, and I just loved it so much. I felt like this was a very emotional romance compared to all the other ones, and I love both book 1 and 2. But this one just held something different for me because each of them had their own trauma. You learn about, Jasper's past and why he was adopted. You learn about Sloane's family over the course of the story and what she's been through. And it is just so beautiful to watch these 2 broken people, but they're broken in very different ways, come together and really just learn each other in a different way than they ever have before. And let me just tell you, Jasper is a protective, possessive hero. And even though they're friends, he's still like, you're mine. Like, you've always been mine. You're always going to be mine. And I was like, true, true. Just speak your piece, Jasper. We love that. He's also a hockey player, so you get that sports romance element in there as well. It's fun to kind of see the family moments as well with the rest of the family. And it was just fun. I had a lot of laugh out loud moments in this book. I just thought it was so cute. Such a perfect small town romance. And I actually wanted to pick up the Gold Rush Ranch series after reading this book because I really didn't have an interest in it. But you got to see some of the couples from that series. And I was like, okay, I kind of want to pick this up because it was so cute reading their scenes in there. So I might pick that series up. But Powerless, so good. Elsie did not disappoint, you definitely should pick this up. And that is all that I have for today, guys. It has been such an amazing month already. I cannot wait to see what else that I read in the month of February. Let me know how your reading month is going. I would absolutely love to know, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.